What's up, you guys? Welcome back and welcome if you're new. In today's video, I'm right here with Robert, better known as Welds Taco. You can check him out in the description box below. But I'm gonna go ahead and let him just kind of explain what I'm doing here today.
What's up, everybody? We're gonna do a cab mount relocation on Jesse's truck. What we're gonna do is try to make more room for his bigger tires. So what I did now is after we lifted his truck, we took the tires off. What I'm doing is I'm going to get a base measurement, and it really doesn't matter where you pick it from, but as long as it is a point where you can keep referencing. So from the ground to, and I always go either to here, you can go to the center of this bolt. You want to get a base measurement, and once you lift up the truck, we're going to lift up the cab and bring it back down. That base measurement is where you want to get back to. So you can see here where he's already rubbing, and then just for you know, once we cut this off, he's definitely gonna have a whole lot more clearance. It's gonna push this cab mount all the way back some.
What we're gonna be doing here is we're gonna be removing the plastics and the carpet. We're gonna need to pull that back. So first things first, we're gonna go ahead and remove this. It just pulls right up, just like that. Focus up here. So you're gonna notice there's a kick panel there, and if you see back here, there's gonna be a little screw that you have to remove. That's super easy, it just twists off. Once you do that, this whole panel should remove. You just pull it back, just like that. Once you have that off, you just go ahead and pull back the carpet. Give yourself some room. And what we're gonna be working on is you're gonna notice here there's a foam. Inside that foam, there's going to be one clip there and one clip there. Get yourself a Phillips head and just remove it.
This is probably the most tedious part of the whole job. Once we get this off, it exposes the bolt to the body mount. So once you get that plastic thing off, expose that, just lift up the stopper. And then this is a 19 mil and then a 17 on the bottom. Pop that bolt out. I like to use reuse these washers that come on the bolts. So what you do is just take the large socket, or you can use a small piece of tubing or something and just tap it. And now free up the washer. Use that for your bolt.
And the cool thing about this, it's going to be brand new hardware. It's going to be grade 8 hardware, so you already know it's going to be great quality, super strong, nothing's going to happen. Another cool thing about this, as you could tell, now the bushing is going to be red. So you guys will see once we install it, it's going to stand out and it's going to look awesome. They also come in black, so if you guys don't want to stand out, but as far as for me, getting this done, this is going to look awesome, so I do want it in red.
So on the front, you want to try to get access to the front bolt for the body. You're gonna need to loosen it up. You don't need to take the bolt out, but by loosening these two bolts, it's gonna allow us to get more access to the cab mount if we lift up the cab just slightly.
And just to let you guys know, as you could tell, this bolt here was easy for us to access because I do not have a wheel well. So if you guys do have your wheel well still on, you guys are gonna of course need to remove that. It's just a couple clips and like about 2 or 3 screws underneath right here, and then that whole thing comes off, then that you have access. So right now what he's doing is we're actually gonna lift up the body off of the frame. As you could tell, he's lifting it up. I know the lighting's a little bit hard right here, but as you could tell, he's literally on the body there, and it's pushing away from the bushing. So of course we need to remove the cab mount from the body, so that way we can cut this off and put the brand new one on. No joke, you guys, we'll show you guys a side-by-side comparison once we have it off, but it's going to be a lot more clearance and no more rubbing down here.
All right, so we need to get the wire harness completely out of the way. You definitely don't want to damage any wires inside this. So there's a 12 millimeter headed bolt back here. A ratcheting wrench really helps out here. Just loosen this up. Once you get that loose there's going to be a couple of tabs here. Just pop it free. One on each side, connected to the
cab mount.
And then I also loosen this guy, get this guy off as well. That helps me get the harness onto the frame and back away. There we go. You just tuck this guy in, back underneath.
As you could tell, before he did that, this wiring was actually over here, but like we said, we're going to be removing this whole thing, and you do not want to cut the wires, of course. That would be an expensive fix and a hard job to do, so it's better to just remove the clips, push it back just like he said.
And then if you feel, you can also take an old welding glove, something that you don't mind getting damaged, and you can jam it up into there for more protection, just like so. So you can see this cab mount relocation by DRT Fabrication. Derek, awesome guy. Compared to the stock one, the amount of space that Jesse here is going to be gaining. And you can see by his cab mount, his chop here. I mean, we're only able to go so deep because of the design of the bushing. And by Derek's design, we're able to bring that in a lot closer. So he's going to have a whole lot more room. The only thing going to stop him now is going to be his firewall.
And then keep in mind, you guys, I did have previously a cab mount chop, so your factory one actually probably sits about over here. So just think about 2 to 3 more inches out here with the factory, and then with the cab mount chop, which is called a CMC, would be pushed back here. And now with a cab mount relocation, a CMR, which is this here, you can tell the big difference. So if you guys are planning on running 35s or anything bigger, it's always good to go with something like this.
And I also wanted to mention, just if you want to get in here, is that one of the big things that people don't realize is the stock factory cab mount tend to collect a lot of debris, dirt, and what happens over time is that dirt stays and it just continues to rust out your frame down there, because you'll never get all that dirt out, unfortunately. And what happens is it does clog the little drain holes that they do have.
Another thing we did want to know, as you could tell, this isn't a cleaned up job just yet. So he still needs to clean all this up just to kind of make it nice and flat. And then, of course, we need to sand it down a bit so that way the welder kind of hits it correctly and it welds nice and clean. So yeah, so we're going to get to that process now.
So what I like to do is I like to go and cut along just shy of where the welds are, and then I'm just going to pop these little pieces off, and that's just going to leave me less material to be needed to grind off.
You guys, so now to show you, so as you can tell, the majority of it is gone, all the welds and stuff. So now we just got to grind away any excess, which is like, of course, this here, that there, and then we'll keep going. So as you could tell, now it's a nice clean surface. Now we're going to go ahead and get ready to weld, and then you guys will see the finished product once we paint it and everything. So let's get it.
So in the kit, you'll get pretty much all what you see here, but times 2, right? So you're going to have, make sure that you notice that one of the larger washers is bigger than the other one. This one does go on the bottom, okay, when we sandwich everything together. This is going to go in through the cab. We're going to put this side in, and then you're going to have this bushing and the larger washer on the top. It's going to go through the cab like so, and then you're going to slide this one up underneath. And the big thing to remember here is to make sure that that bushing does get inside here. Okay, when you go to button everything up, you really want to make sure that there's a larger area of this bushing and it does sit inside of the notch out there. Okay, so once you got all that together, larger washer goes on the bottom, the slightly smaller of the larger washers. Then you'll put the small washer on, and then the cool thing is that Derek provides these zinc coated non-nylock wash or nuts. Okay, here's the nylock nut. You want to use this for when you're doing all your fit up and everything. That way you don't use this and this is like a one-time use. Okay, you use this multiple times, you start to degrade the nylon in the nut. So once you got it all together, then I'll show you, we'll tack everything together.
One thing I did want to note, you guys, on the top right here, as you could tell, this is that washer that he had taken off from the factory one, this black piece here. That's the one he said to reuse in the beginning of the video.
So here's that bolt. We're going to slide it into the cab hole. One thing to note is that the reason why we use this larger washer is because it's got the two ears here, and it does go into two tabs. Slide it in and just make sure those two ears are seated within the little notched out area. So this is basically my procedure. You know, there's 1,000 ways to skin a cat, of course, but this is kind of how I do this stuff. I just, once the bolt's in, just slide this one over, slide on the new bracket, slide in the lower bushing, making sure that everything sits and recesses in. That's the one thing you want to make sure, because you want it to line up correctly. Larger washer, and then the zinc coated nut. Get it in, snug it up just a little bit. Then from here, you want to make sure that you take this back off of the frame before you drop the cab down. And then once we drop the cab down, we'll lower it to the same height of that previous measurement that we made earlier.
And take note, once again, he still hasn't used that nylon nut. We have it here, like he was saying. We're using the nut right now, which is provided to go ahead and just kind of get your measurements. Then you take that off, and then after actually use the nylon.
Right now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and drop it down to the measurement I had made earlier. For his was 25, and I usually go a 16th higher, because then what I've found is after I snug the bushing and everything up, it does cinch it back down that 1/16 of an inch. So on his brackets, it might be able to see, you're gonna get provided these, and it'll say a D, and the other one will have a P on it, and it has a little arrow here that's indicating which direction towards the front of the vehicle. Okay, and then these lines here correspond with the bracket that he's got here, and because the frame is actually rounded slightly, this will sit in the rounded section and line up with certain points on his bracket. Slide this in, and then I kind of just line it up to where it sits flush, and then I'm going to button this up. I usually leave a little bit of a gap, so it creates what we call fillet weld here. Once you get it set and lined where you like it, you tack it. Once it's all tacked up, I'm gonna go ahead and drop this, get the bushing out, raise the cab back up, remove the harness back out of the way, and I'm just gonna weld it out. I got everything, the brackets all tacked up where I need it.
And the reason you want to remove all the bushings and everything like that, because if you go to weld right now, you could have the potential of actually melting the rubber, and you do not want that, of course. So let's go ahead and do that.
So the cool thing about this kit is his design fully boxes this thing in. So by adding this plate underneath, of course you want to weld both sides, you get underneath and you'll weld the inside as well. But you put this plate on afterwards, and then you got a fully boxed in kit. And this is the only one that I've seen so far designed this way out of all the cab mount relocation kits. And then also it's the only one I've seen that provides this plate here, because with all the other ones it connects straight to the frame. This frame is only what, 1/8 of an inch thick at the most, you know, it's not very thick. Then you weld this heavy stuff to it, and over time this material isn't as strong, so it starts to weaken, and you can actually rip the cab mount right off of the frame. And I've seen multiple pictures of different trucks where the cab mount, because of other designs, has literally ripped, cracked the frame. It's a bad thing. So by adding this plate here, this is now spreading the load, and this is going to take a lot more abuse than the thin material that the frame is made out of.
Heck yeah. And I also wanted to point out, if you guys do remember when we took off the factory one, he was stating about all the rocks and everything kind of just sitting in there. Now with this design, of course, since like he said, it's boxed in, we won't have that problem anymore, so there won't create rust inside. And yeah, later down the road, they'll be bad. Heck yeah. Another cool thing I did want to note, check out these welds, you guys. Damn.
Inside, and then I do the tops, do underneath, and then it's all the same shit. I don't know why. It's probably my kicking in.
Check that out, you guys. It looks freaking awesome. And like I said, now we're gonna have a lot of clearance and it's just gonna look good overall. But check out all the welds. There it is. That's why it's in the name, Welds Taco. Go check him out on Instagram and hit him up to get yours. We're still not done, of course. Let's keep going. Okay, so what you just saw there was he was just cleaning up any of the weld splatter and just kind of making it look nice and clean, so that way when he goes to paint it and it dries up, it's just gonna look freaking awesome and factory, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. No. So of course it's gonna be a little hard to see, but now it's painted and everything. So now up next, we're just gonna go ahead and reinstall the bushings, and this time put the nylon nut that goes at the bottom, and we'll be done. And then we'll do the same exact steps to the opposite side, and then we'll show you guys that finished product when the bushing's actually installed. Oh yeah, there you guys go, all done. If you guys don't want a red bushing, they also come in black. I just wanted a red so that way it could stand out a little. Let me go ahead and zoom out for you guys so you guys can see, but it's all done. So as you can tell, a lot more clearance down there, and now it's going to look awesome when we put the tire back on. It's going to be like nothing ever happened, but there it is. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys one more time. So of course this is the passenger side, we haven't done it, so that's how it looks. As you can tell, it's a lot bigger. There it is. All right, let's get it. So now that we finished up with the install, as you guys can tell, now we have a lot more clearance down there and it looks freaking awesome. So if you guys do want to get this on your Tacoma, make sure to hit him up. All his information is going to be in the description box below. I'm going to go ahead and let him explain a little bit more on what he does as well.
What's up, everybody? Yeah, so like Jesse was saying, I'm Welds Taco on Instagram, Robert. I do a lot of custom fab work, bumpers, sliders, not so much anymore, but I used to do a lot of sliders. But I do cab mount relocations, cab mount chops, starting to do the diff reinforcement bracket that I just came up with, Marlin crawler camber kits. So a lot of the fab welding stuff that you guys get done to your trucks. Just hit me up. And I also like to give advice too, as much as I possibly can. Just give me a DM and I'll give you any advice I can.
Heck yeah. And go check him out, go give him a follow, and you guys will see how crazy this guy goes on the trails. He does some awesome rock trails, and I wish I'll be hopefully I'm like that one day.
Well, we're gonna get you out there. We're gonna get Jesse on the trail.
Yeah, I think he's gonna pop my cherry for that one.
Yep.
So we'll get to it, and you guys will probably see more of him in the future. So if you guys did like today's video, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. We'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.
JesseRizo is here for you. It's here for you, now. Like I said, it's super simple. Please feel free to subscribe.